A pleasant good morning to all our Emonews viewers, followers, listeners. We thank you for joining us this morning. We are here this morning at the HAZEL Medical Center. HSMI. Okay. At HAZEL with Dr. SHILLINGFORD, RICKETTS. We are celebrating World Glaucoma Week, which runs from March 12th to the 18th, 2023. So we are here with Dr. Ricketts, who will give us much needed information about glaucoma, what the plans are, and who's affected, and everything else that you need to know. While we are here on the live, if you have any questions, you can type it in the chat, and I will be very happy to ask Dr. Ricketts your questions for you. Good morning, Dr. Ricketts, and welcome to Emonews.
Good morning, Ms. Lawrence, and thank you very much for having Emonews here.
So we are celebrating World Glaucoma Week this week.
Yes.
Tell us, Dr. Ricketts, what is glaucoma?
Okay. So first of all, I'll give a little background about World Glaucoma Week. So it is an initiative, which is a joint initiative between the World Glaucoma Association and the World Glaucoma Patients Association, and it is observed every year, the second week of March, and it is to raise public awareness about glaucoma, because we know glaucoma is the leading cause of permanent blindness in the world, and we know only by early detection and treatment can we prevent persons from going blind. So what is glaucoma? So glaucoma is actually a disease of the optic nerve. It is chronic, it is slowly progressive, and it is a degenerative condition of the nerve of the eye, resulting in loss of peripheral vision first, and if not treated, can proceed to total blackout blindness, which is irreversible.
So if one doesn't take that seriously, they can be totally blind?
Yes.
Okay.
But most patients with glaucoma do not go blind. Okay? Now, glaucoma is not just one disease, it's a group of diseases. Okay? But they all manifest by the damage to the optic nerve, leading to blindness.
So who is most affected by glaucoma?
Okay, so we're going to go to look at the risk factors, but just to understand more about how glaucoma affects the eye, I want to go back and give you a little history in anatomy of the eye.
Okay, let's show our viewers.
Yes. So here we have the So here we have the eye, the diagram of the eye. This is the front, the glass, the clear part called the cornea. This is the lens. They have to focus the light on the retina, which is that area with the blood vessels here lining the inside, and then the information from the retina is transmitted via the optic nerve to the brain. Now the eyeball is located in that bony room called the orbit at the front of the eye, the front of the skull. And you can see the eyeball here, and you can see the nerve leaving the eyeball and going towards the back. And as we follow here, we see the eyeball, and we see the nerve traversing, going through the brain, right to the back. And this purple area is called the visual cortex. So this is where you see in your brain, right at the back. Okay, and this is just a cross-section of the brain, again, showing the eyeball at the front, and how the nerve fibers travel to the back of the brain where you see. One of the things you can appreciate here is that the optic nerve looks like an electric wire. Okay? And if the electric wire is working, it will bring electricity to your house and you will have lights. If the wire is damaged, then the electricity cannot get into your house for you to have lights. So similarly, if the optic nerve is damaged, then the information from the eye cannot be transmitted to the brain for you to see, and hence loss of vision. And We hear about the eye pressure or the intraocular pressure. What do we mean by that? It is not the same as the blood pressure, okay? Here we have a diagram of just a section of the eye. And right here is called the ciliary processes, and they produce the aqueous humor, which is like a watery substance in the eye, and it is responsible for nutrition and draining away waste products. So it is being continually produced, so it has to exit the eye. So if we follow this bluish arrow, we can see where the aqueous passes between the iris and the lens, and it comes to the front of the eyeball, and it is drained out in that angle. The angle is formed by the cornea and the iris, and in here has a little strainer to release the fluid drain out to the surface of the eye under the lining called the conjunctiva. Now, if the production of the aqueous is greater than the draining, then the pressure will build up in the eye, and the damage will occur at the optic nerve head called the optic disc. So this is how the intraocular pressure is produced. So we ask, what are the risk factors? Who are at risk for glaucoma? Age. The older you get, the greater the risk you are. So about 4% out of 100 persons will have glaucoma. But when you reach in the 80s, you're talking about 25%, which is 1 in 4. All right? Blacks. So if you're the black race, you are 4 to 7 times more at risk than persons from the white race or Caucasian race. Okay? Black people also get glaucoma at a younger age, and they are at a higher risk of becoming blind from glaucoma. So you see, glaucoma really is not a friend of black people.
Not a friend at all.
No. If you have a family history of glaucoma, so if somebody in your family has glaucoma, your parents, your siblings, your uncles and aunts, you are at increased risk. It don't necessarily mean you must get it, but you are at increased risk. And this is where I appeal to patients with glaucoma. If you are told you have glaucoma, go home. Tell your relatives so, because you may help to save their sight. Because if you tell them so, then they will know they have to go check their eyes, so that they can, if they do have it, it is detected earlier and treatment can be implemented to prevent them from going blind. Elevated eye pressure. If your eye pressure is very high, so the normal range is 10 to 22 millimeters of mercury. But if it is like 30 and 40, you will get damage to your optic nerve and lose your vision. However, the eye pressure by itself is not a risk factor, because we know about half of the people with the most common type of glaucoma, chronic open-angle glaucoma, their eye pressure is in the normal range. You cannot just check your eye pressure and say, oh, it is normal, I don't have glaucoma. Okay? Long ago in medicine, that's what it was thought of, but it is no longer like that. Okay. Now, there are other risk factors. If your cornea thickness is thin, if you've had an injury to the eye. So sometimes we get injuries to the eye, and over time their eye pressure gradually creeps up, and the high eye pressure causes loss of vision. And this is a situation that is more common in men. They will get a cricket ball injury as a child, and nobody tells them they have to come and check their eyes every year. And then when they realize, hey, I cannot see out that eye, and they go to see the doctor, the pressure is 45, their optic disc is completely damaged, and they cannot, we can try to save what is left, but they cannot get what they have lost. So it is important that if you have an injury to the eye, you check your eye every year to make sure you're not developing glaucoma.
Because we have some men that's in the trade, industry,
yeah.
You know, the carpentry, the welders, the electricians, and they might feel and think it's just a little thing. They wash it out with water and they carry on.
But most times it's blunt trauma.
Blunt trauma.
Could be like a cricket ball, or you fighting, or something hit you real hard in the eye, you know?
Okay.
Patients on steroid medication. So steroids is a good medication for treating inflammatory conditions, but there are side effects. And in the eye, it can cause cataracts and it can cause elevated eye pressure that leads to glaucoma. So if you're taking steroid tablets, you're taking steroids injection, for example, you have arthritis on the knee and they give you an injection in the knee, or you're taking inhalers for asthma, or you're taking steroid eye drops for other eye problems. While you're using the steroid, you have to check your eyes, because the pressure can go up, and if it is not treated, it can cause you to lose your sight from glaucoma. Okay? And then patients who are nearsighted, very nearsighted, myopia, people who are diabetic, and smokers. Okay? So again, another reason why you should not be smoking. Okay? So okay. So most of our patients with glaucoma are detected by opportunistic screening. What do I mean by this? You come to change your glasses, I just don't give you your prescription and tell you go. I examine your eye, I do your eye pressure, I look at your disc in your eye, and if there are any changes suggestive of glaucoma, then I will request that you have further investigations done to confirm it. So that's how we pick up most of our people with glaucoma. So what do? We check their visual acuity, how well they can see to read the chart. And this is actually testing just your central vision. So you might have somebody blind from glaucoma because they have lost a significant amount of their visual fields, but they can still see 20/20 in their central vision. Okay? Pachymetry. Pachymetry is an ultrasound to measure the central thickness of the cornea. So this is the ultrasound machine, all right? And we just apply the tip to the cornea, and it gives us a measurement of the thickness of the cornea. And based on the thickness there, we can say, well, okay, your cornea is very thin, and it is, the eye pressure we get in is underestimating your pressure in your eye. Or your cornea is very thick, and it is overestimating. Okay? Gonioscopy. So what do I mean by gonioscopy? Remember we spoke about the angle of the eye. Yes. Okay? So this little lens I put on the surface of the eye, and this allows me to see the angle. And it is important because one of the classifications of glaucoma is whether you have open angle or closed angle glaucoma. Alright? Fundoscopy. Fundoscopy means looking at the back of the eye. Alright? And at the back, so fundoscopy allows us to look at the head of the optic nerve called the optic disc, because this is a normal optic disc. This is a patient who has glaucoma where the cup in the center is large, and if it is not, glaucoma is not treated, the cup will increase in size. And so when we do fundoscopy, we're actually assessing the structure of the optic disc. Tonometry means doing the eye pressure and to tell us what is the level of the eye pressure. Because the eye pressure is what we modify to control the glaucoma. So we need to know what it is at the beginning, and when we give the drops, how much we are reducing it, and is it being reduced satisfactory to arrest the disease. Then we do the visual field, which is to detect your peripheral vision. Do that. So here, so this is a visual field. So this patient has lost their vision on top here. Okay, we call it scotoma. And as the disease progresses, you see the loss of vision has progressed all over. This patient would be blind from glaucoma. Okay, so this is the information we're looking for when we do your visual field. Then we have the optical coherence tomography, which is from this machine, and it gives us the structure of the optic nerve to tell us whether there is damage to the retinal nerve fiber layer. Now, how does glaucoma affect the optic nerve and peripheral vision? So you see, this is a normal optic disc, and this is an optic. This is a very large cup. That's where you see that white area here, okay? Now, a person who has normal vision, they can see the full picture here. But as their peripheral vision is affected, you see that they
It's a bit blurry.
yeah, you see where the blurriness is on the periphery. So they can see the faces in the center, but you see the ball, and so they cannot see it as well because their visual field is being constricted. So we've made the diagnosis of glaucoma. What do we do now? We have to treat you. And as I said, the main treatment is lowering the eye pressure. We do so by either trying to decrease the production of aqueous, the fluid in the eye, or increase the drainage. And we use a number of medication, eye drops. We have up to about 4 different eye drops we can use. Some patients are controlled only on one eye drop, others are controlled on 4 eye drops.
Okay.
We have pills that we can use to lower the pressure. You have laser, you have the selective laser trabeculoplasty, where this is a treatment to increase the drainage of the fluid, and we now have that treatment at the hospital. You have cyclodestructive procedures, and you have surgery. Okay, some of the glaucoma surgery we can do here, others, especially those that require drainage devices, where little tubes are put in the eye to drain the aqueous out of the eye. You have to go see a glaucoma specialist overseas for that. So this is a story here which I'm going to tell you. These are actually 2 of my patients, both of them male, about the same age group. All right? This demonstrates how when you take your medication, you can stabilize your visual field, and when you don't adhere to treatment, how you can lose your visual field. So patient number A. In 2001, he came in. This was his visual field. It was damaged. You see how the black spots around show the visual field is constricted. Okay? But he was given medication. He used his medication. He kept his appointment. 2011, 10 years later, his visual field is about the same. It has not got worse. If he didn't use his medication, everything would go black. Now, this was a civil servant who was blind in one eye already. This was the only vision he had to work, and he continued to work until he retired, and in his retirement, he's doing his farming, and he has preserved his visual field, although it is damaged. Patient B came in 2001, had a history of trauma to the eye, but there was no evidence of glaucoma. But he was told that he is at risk for glaucoma. And this is a visual field done. You see it is totally normal. The little black spot there is called the blind spot. He was recommended to come in every year to check his eye. He did not come in until 2011, 10 years later. See what happens to his visual field. It has moved from a normal visual field to a visual field which is constricted. Okay, so these clearly demonstrate that if you use your medication, you can stabilize your disease. If you don't, it will progress. Now, loss of vision is not something we should take lightly, because it has implications for other aspects of our lives. It reduces our quality of life. You know, our ability to function and so is impacted. To work and to go to school is impacting. You suffer from anxiety or depression. You cannot drive. For the men, this is the most devastating aspect when you tell them they can no longer drive.
I can imagine.
Because when you lose your peripheral field, you cannot see vehicles coming from the side or pedestrians coming from the side until they are right in front of you, and by the time you notice them, your braking distance is too short, and this will lead to an accident. Okay, so that's why patients with glaucoma with significant loss of their peripheral field, they are advised to stop driving. Unfortunately in Dominica, we do not have laws that compel vision testing for persons before they go to get their driver's license or to renew their license as they get older.
So, Doc, we're talking to the bus drivers.
Yes. And I have some that have glaucoma.
Oh. But what can you tell at least the bus drivers, probably those who are listening, because they are the main source of, transportation to and from work, home in the different communities around the island. The inability to drive will really have some of them feeling depressed.
Okay.
Let's tell the bus drivers something in particular.
Yes, that they should come and check their eyes. So if they have glaucoma, they can treat it to save their vision. And I'll tell you, this is one area that I have tried to impact and it didn't work. When I came here first, when Mr. Blanchard was Commissioner of Police, I brought in all the documents that I had on vision and driving, because my research supervisor at university actually was a psychophysicist who did a lot of research in vision and put in the standards for drivers, pilots, seamen. And so I had all the information to try to influence the laws, legislation dealing with vision and driving. That didn't go anywhere. I bought a machine that they could test the patients right in the licensing office, and if they fail that test, they can send them in to check their eyes. Eventually, I had to take the machine back. It's sitting back at my home. They could even find it one day when I went there. Okay?
Okay.
So, we have not... Imagine when they were certifying bus drivers for tour guides for the tourist place. I told there was a lady from the States who was doing that project. She came here to test her eyes so she could send back to the States to renew her driver's license. And I said, but here you are asking our drivers to get a garbage bin to put in their bus for tourists. But it is not important for you to ensure that they get their vision tested. What are you waiting for? For one of the blind ones to throw down a busload of tourists in the precipice? And if I know they are blind, I will testify against her. Okay? And nothing has been done to this date. Okay. All right? So, reduce the social interaction. You can't just get up or you want to go anywhere. You have to rely on somebody helping you to move around. Increase frequency of falls, fracturing your hips, and so because you cannot see where you're going, you can't see the obstacles. Loss of your independence, leading to nursing home admissions. A lot of our patients or inmates at nursing homes are blind, and they are there because they cannot see. I've had patients who were blind from cataract. I did their surgery, their vision came back, and they went right back to their home. They left the nursing home and went back to their home. All right? And also a higher risk of early mortality. So blindness can impact your quality of life and lead to early death. Okay?
Okay.
So over the years I've been here from 1996, we have made significant strides in Dominica in the resources made available for assessing and managing patients with glaucoma. So if you start, when I started in 96, I was the only ophthalmologist, and I was there for 20 years by myself, trying to provide eye care for everybody from cradle to the cradle, from cradle to the grave. All right?
Yes.
Over the years, we have trained, and now we have 5 ophthalmologists in Dominica. We have 4 optometrists, including one at Courts. You have Dr. Williams, and you have one in my office and one at the hospital. You have 2 ophthalmic technicians. We have 1 optician, 1 non-certified ophthalmic technician, 3 eye nurses, and then we have the family nurse practitioners who are actually our first line eye contact. Okay? So this is our resources we now have in Dominica. We have, in addition, we have additional equipment. So I've always had a visual field machine here, which we will see later, but there's now one at the hospital, so patients can get visual fields. We have OCTs, I have one here, and then there's one at the hospital. And then we have, as I show you, the pachymetry and gonioscopic lenses and so. All right? In terms of treatment, what have we done? So when I started, there were just about 2 eye drops you could use for glaucoma, optic and pilocarpine. And over the years, a number of better, newer drops, but they were expensive. So over 10 years, I had to lobby the drug committee at the hospital to include those new medications on the drug formulary, and they have done so. As a result, you find patients 18 and younger, 60 and older, can get those medications free of charge in the government service. Those between 19 and 59, they can get it, but at a reduced fee, $25, whereas in the private sector is about $70, $80. So at least we have made the medications more affordable, all right? The only problem we have now is that these medications can only be obtained at the hospital. So if you're from Castle Bruce and you're 80 years old and you need your glaucoma medication, even if you don't have to pay for it, you have to leave Castle Bruce and come to Rosa to get it. And so I am no longer in the government service, but I'm still advocating for these medications to be made available in the district so the patients can readily access to this medication. Granted, it came at a significant cost to the government for providing the glaucoma eye drops, increased the drug budget by $250,000 a year. They had extra they have to spend a year to get this glaucoma medication. Okay, but at least it is available for a significant number. We have now the Brenda Strafford Foundation Eye Center that was recently opened. Yes. Over 20 years of working on this project, I finally got it off the ground and running, and it has its own operating theater. So now instead of having surgery just 1 day a week, no, surgery can be obtained 5 days a week. So patients needing surgery for glaucoma can get their surgery done more readily than before. Okay? Then you have in the private sector, you have Premier Medical Services, which is an ambulatory care unit which provides operating room facilities for patients, so we can get that there. And patients who we cannot manage here that requires additional glaucoma treatment, there are glaucoma specialists now in the region, in Antigua, in Barbados and Trinidad. Before you had to go further afield. Yes. Now we have them, and I'm working with them now to try to get one of them to come to Dominica to do the necessary surgery for the patients so they don't have to travel. Yes. So this is increased resources over the years that we have for glaucoma patients. But more, there's always more you want, right? Always. So in spite of all what we have, increased resources, increased equipment, increased time availability for surgery, we still have a long waiting list, both in the hospital and in the private sector. And a lot of it came about from the backlog from Hurricane Maria when things were shut down, and from the COVID. And so it will take a little while before we can get up to speed. Okay? We need more public awareness for patients, to people to know to come and check their eyes, and so there's always a pocket of patients that people you don't get to tell them about glaucoma. So we still need increased public awareness. But we have increased public awareness because more and more people are coming and ask, they want to check their eyes for glaucoma. Okay? Poor compliance. So we need glaucoma patients to be more compliant with their medication. Not only to save their sight, but also when you're not compliant, when you're a compliant patient, I can say, well, okay, your medication is working, I'll see you back in 6 months. But if you don't use your medication, when you come, I'll tell you, oh, the pressure is high again. And instead of bringing you back in 6 months, I'll bring you back in a month. So every month. So that monthly visit, somebody else would have gotten that appointment. So by you not using your medication and requiring more frequent visits, you are depriving other persons from coming in. So using your
And the wait is
medication,
longer.
exactly, increasing the wait time. Then also we have increased demands for other eye services like cataract surgery, which is the leading cause of blindness, diabetic retinopathy. So all these compete with time for available for patients for glaucoma. Okay? And then we have increased demand for glasses. We know now that the need for glasses is a leading cause of visual impairment in the world. And now we are finding out that because of increased time spent on digital devices, more children are becoming nearsighted, requiring glasses. So again, when you bring in a patient to get, even if it's just for glasses, that is a time you have allocated for that person that will compete with time for a glaucoma patient, okay? And as I alluded to earlier, we really need to make the free eye drops available in all the primary health districts, not just in the hospital, because it will make it easier for the older patients to
have access to it, yes.
medication. So having said all that, I will summarize with the list of recommendations.
Okay.
So persons, everybody, 40 years, from age 40 years, they should be checking their eyes regularly every 2 years. Because one of the things that happen because of just natural aging, your ability for seeing there, for reading is lost. And you need reading glasses. So when you come for your reading glasses, you will have your eyes checked for glaucoma one time. If you have a family history of glaucoma, your eye checks should start from the age of 35.
35?
Yes.
Okay.
For every 2 years.
But it is important that family members let other family members know.
That is
because if you don't know the history, you will not just come and check for glaucoma.
That is exactly what I tell my glaucoma patients. Please tell your relatives so that not only your mother, father, but your brothers, your sisters, your children over the age of 35, so they can come and check their eyes. Because you may save their vision by informing them and having them to come in early to detect the disease and prevent further loss of vision. Okay. Patients with risk factors. So if you've had injury to your eye, if you're on steroids, and so you should check your eyes regularly or as recommended by your doctor. Okay. Patients with glaucoma, adherence to treatment. Use your medication. If your appointment is coming up and you have more refills on your prescription, you can always get a repeat prescription until you get to see the doctor. Do not wait, say you come to see the doctor tomorrow, next week, so you don't have to buy the medication.
So they can call. Because
one of the reasons that you're seeing the doctor is to see if the medication is working. If you don't use it, the doctor cannot tell you. Also, to keep up their appointments. So not just, some people feel, well, okay, I'll just refill my medication and I don't need to see the doctor. No, because the eye drops may work for a couple of years and then it's not working as well. You have to change it, you might have to add others, or you may have to have surgery.
Okay.
Relatives, how can they assist patients with glaucoma? One, by helping them to buy their medication if they have to buy it and they cannot afford it. Put in the drops for them. Sometimes the bottles of drops, the top is so hard to open, and older persons with arthritis and so it may be difficult for them, so they will need help in doing that. And so putting the eye drops in their eyes for them. Because some of the drops can be expensive, and by the time they put the drop in their eye, they use half of the bottle because the rest is
because they have no help.
Exactly. So we need that help them to put the drops in their eye. We also to remind them of their appointments when they come from seeing the doctor. Ma, when next you have to see doctor? Okay, 2nd of August. So from the first from the end of July, say, Mom, remember you have an appointment for the 1st of August, okay? Or you may have to provide transportation for them. Call the ambulance, get the bus, drop them to the to see the doctor, all right? Because when they go blind, it is not their problem only, you know.
Yes.
It is a family's problem too, okay? So it is important that you help them to preserve their vision. And so here we have this pretty slide here. It is saying World Glaucoma Week. The world is bright. Save your sight, okay? Beat invisible glaucoma. Because one thing we know, glaucoma is known as the silent thief of your sight. You cannot cure it, but you can control it. And we can control it by knowing your glaucoma status, coming to have your eyes checked, having regular eye examinations, using your medications, okay? And now, go get your eyes tested for glaucoma to save your sight. Because it is so beautiful out there, you don't want to lose sight on that. Okay, so I'm happy that you all could come to provide this information to the public to encourage them to check their eyes. What are we doing in addition to for the Glaucoma Week? Well, I was on DBS earlier, I'm with you now. On Thursday I will be on Q95, but I will also be having a free glaucoma screening here in my office.
Okay.
We cannot see everybody, so it is a first come, first serve. We take a number and we see you. It's not an examination for glasses, so don't come asking for glasses prescription. We will check your vision, we do your eye pressure, and I will look at your optic nerve. If with this free examination it appears that you may have glaucoma, then we will schedule you to do additional tests and further evaluation.
And when is that?
Thursday, this Thursday.
This Thursday, from what time?
From 8 in the morning.
So they can call your office, or they just
No,
walk
they
in?
just
It's
walk
a
in.
number.
And we have a number system. They get their number and we see them. We're hoping to see about 50 or so people for that day. In addition to this, on Friday, at lunchtime I'll be on Experience Creole to speak with Kiwana about glaucoma. And then my colleagues in the hospital have informed me that they will be in Cassie Bruce on Thursday, and they will be doing glaucoma screening and an eye education and an eye clinic out there too. So people from the East Cassie Bruce district, you can go over to the Cassie Bruce Health Center to get screened for glaucoma. So this is what we are doing for 2023 for glaucoma in Dominica.
This is wonderful, Dr. Ricketts.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of information, but very useful information. You know, we just want to let the viewing public, the listening public know that even if glaucoma cannot be cured, it can be controlled. And this is all on you, the individual, to take take it seriously. Check your eyes. Do regular checkups. Your family members, try to get them to do regular checkups. And please pass on the information if you or any other member in the family suffers from glaucoma or any eye disease, so the rest of the family members can try to detect it early enough and control it.
Yes. Because even if you ignore it, you're not ignoring it.
No, it
while
will
you
be
sit
there.
down there, it is doing its damage. And glaucoma, you have babies being born with glaucoma, and it goes right across to when you die. Okay? But as you get older, the prevalence increases. So although it is more common in older persons, we have young people with glaucoma, we have young people blind from glaucoma. And so, okay? So we have to try to avoid blindness from glaucoma.
And because I'm one of the individuals who travel on the buses regularly, I will keep reminding my bus drivers to take some tests.
Everybody that go on the bus,
Yes, everybody.
Have you tested your eyes? Because if they cannot see on the side, and you know the glaucoma drivers that have significant loss of their peripheral vision, they are not the speeding drivers that will get in the head-on collision write-off vehicle thing, you know, because they are the slow ones going poco that hog the middle of the road because they cannot see the side. Sometimes I remember when I used to go to the country, the driver driving me would say, "What happened to this man? He's blind man." And I would look around. I said, "Oh yes, that's one of my patients." But they are the ones, the fender benders. So they cannot see, you know, how far they are from another vehicle. So they will scrape the side of the vehicle. And go one wife saying, "Oh, so that's why my husband always scraping the car on the right side of the right side of the car." And so
it is important.
Yes, it is important.
And we do hope that at some point, sometime, that the laws will really be enforced. You know,
no, well, they first of all have to pass the legislation.
Pass the legislation.
And they have all the documents. If they don't have, I have copies of it, I can give them. But we do have. We have, it's very simple, everybody don't have. And even insurance companies I spoke to, you know, thinking, well, okay, you will say, okay, before I insure you to drive, have your eyes tested. No, they are afraid to do it because if the other insurance company not doing it, they will lose clients to the other insurance company. And
that is it.
So it is going to take a village to really manage the vision of our drivers to ensure that they are safe for driving.
Sometimes persons might think it's not reaching them, it's not their problem until it really reaches their home.
Exactly.
You know, or they're one of the persons on a bus or transport into an accident and they find out that the driver, you know, is his sight, that's the problem. So it is very important that persons take that seriously. And there's free testing this week at Dr. Ricketts' office. And there's some other areas in the country, inside Castlebrooks. Yes, so you can come and do a screening. It's not a test where you will get glasses, but you can come and get screened. Dr. Ricketts is available.
I just wanted to show you how we do the OCT scan.
So we are going to demonstrate an OCT scan before we end our live. So we are here at Dr. Ricketts' office. We will be demonstrating. Is it an OCT, doctor?
Yes, optical coherence tomography. So it is a scan of the optic disc to see the structural damage.
Okay. Yes, okay, so good morning. We're just going to take a scan of your eye, okay? Let me just make some adjustments. Okay, so the machine is going to move around, but nothing will touch your eye. I'm just going to adjust. Keep your chin rest down, your chin down on the chin rest. Do you see the red line straight ahead? Okay. I'm bringing up a green X. I'd like you to just keep looking at the X to your left. Okay, blink a few times for me, please. Blink a few times. Alright. What happened was what happened was I didn't dial it. Yes. Okay, let's try the other eye.
That's better.
your right.
Better?
Okay, don't blink, don't move. Let's see. Let's do another one. So look straight ahead at the X. Don't blink, don't move. Okay, you can sit back and I'm just going to review what we got. Okay, so the images will not be as clear because I did not dilate this patient and I chose them only for demonstration purposes as they were willing to consent to being recorded for live viewing, okay? But this will just be a rough example of what the results would look like. And Doc, you can step in.
Yes. So here, this tells us the results of the thickness of the retina around the nerve, and where it is red, it shows that it is decreased, it is thinner than normal, and where it is yellow, it's borderline, and green, it is normal. So this patient, the optic disc is damaged. Okay, now let's go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see, I took one here.
Right?
So this is the visual field.
Okay, so Miss Joy, I'm just going to do the field tests for you. Okay? This is one of the tests doctor uses in her determination or investigation into seeing if you have glaucoma. That means if you have started to lose any of your peripheral vision. Okay? So how we are going to do this test? You're going to see an orange light straight in front. Okay? For the entire test, you must keep looking, keep focusing at the orange light. However, you will notice the machine flash little dots of light elsewhere. Yeah. Anytime you notice the little dot flash, you click that button, okay? That's how we track how many of them you see. Okay, so this is the button, hold it. Hold the button. Alright. Okay. So you're going to go ahead and place your chin right here on the blue side. Can you come a bit closer to the machine, if possible? Let's just see. Your chin.
We can pull the machine forward in the hands of the
It does try to tip. Okay, so you have to place your chin here. And your forehead has to touch. Nice. And we're just going to get you centered now. So keep your chin down on the chin rest. Go down in the machine, right? Oh, I'm doing your left eye. Be right. I'm on this side. Alright. So your chin has, your forehead has to touch, okay? Can you try coming a little closer? Lift the chair. Lift the chair and pull it a bit closer.
That is, it's a glaucoma.
Yes. So, Doc, this was a patient
doing a visual field test.
a visual field test.
This is where we can determine whether their peripheral vision is affected or not. So this is a setup for giving us information about their peripheral vision.
Okay. And you have all these machines available at your office?
Yes.
So patients for screening, for visual tests and all. Okay, Doc. So as we're ending our live here at your office, is there any final words
Yes.
you'd like to let our viewers, the public know?
Okay. So this week we are celebrating or we're observing World Glaucoma Week, and it's essentially to increase public awareness about this disease called glaucoma, which affects the optic nerve and which can lead to permanent blindness. It is to encourage persons to schedule to have an eye examination to determine their glaucoma status. And if they have glaucoma, to use their medication to prevent further loss of vision from glaucoma.
Wonderful. So they should know their status, test their eyes, and save their sight.
Yes.
Thank you very much for having us at your office today, Dr. Ricketts. Have yourself a wonderful day, and to all our viewers, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.